Hey everyone, it's Ida and Dana here today to discuss virtual lessons and coaching. So, one of the most asked questions we get sent to WDAGA when I was on the board was, where can I find a Western dressage trainer? But sometimes there wasn't someone always very close to take routine lessons with, an hour plus drive. It can be hard to do. So I want to dive into virtual lessons today. I feel like there's people out there with lots of questions about virtual lessons and coaching. Maybe you're skeptical about them. Will the trainer or coach really be able to help me? Can they see me? What equipment do I need? So we're here today. We're going to talk about some of these things. Ida's here to help me answer all these questions because she has been doing virtual coaching for some time now. And if you don't know Ida Norris, she's a very accomplished horsewoman. So if you're new to dressage, Western dressage, I just wanted to go over some of her accomplishments today. She is a USEF S dressage judge, a USEF large R Western dressage judge. You have your USDF gold, silver, and bronze medals on horses that you have trained. 2022 world champion judge for Western dressage, and you're a current FEI dressage competitor through Grand Prix, coach, clinician, current working equitation, Western dressage coach, clinician, and competitor, and you're competing WDAA level 5. So thanks for coming on to talk to us about virtual coaching today. Can you just kind of start us off with how long you've been doing virtual lessons and coaching and what your experience has been with it?
Well, it will surprise you to know that because I was a dressage queen for so many years in Maine and it was such a rural state, I had somebody move away from me. Do you people even remember VHS tapes? And people bought video cameras that were huge. And I had a student move away and her husband, and she couldn't get to me and I couldn't get to her. And she was still in the state of Maine, 5 hours away. It's a huge state. And from then, I was trying to think. I asked my husband, Mark, like, how long ago was that? And he goes, that was in the 90s you were talking about. It's telling how old I am. So I've been coaching people virtually. She would take videotapes, VHS tapes, mail them to me. We would talk on the phone while I looked at them. She would take notes. I've been coaching virtually since the beginning of time. And dressage people have been doing this a long time with me because um, young trainers would come to me while I was wintering in Florida, and they would study with me, but then they would go home, and in the summer they'd go to shows. And as soon as they had technology, if they had videotape machines, if they had phones, they were taking tape and sending it to me. So I've been on this a long time. For Western dressage, as long as we've been doing this, I've been doing this. And I had cell phones before people had cell phones. I had a bag phone in the car. Like, I was one of those techie girls because I lived in Maine and we needed it. So it's kind of cool. I've been at it a long time and I love this. And I jumped on to, the Pivo bandwagon. Although most people use Pivo, but I have one or two people that use Zoom, and there are a couple of people that just can't work it out with Pivo.
Mhm.
And they FaceTime. That's a little more complicated in some respects. You need somebody to follow you. Same thing with the Zooming,
Yeah,
but but yeah, been at it and love it. I love it.
that's awesome. All right, so let's dive in. So if I want to take virtual coaching, what equipment do I need?
Well, I mean, I think you're going to talk to us about the Pivo system today, which most people are using the Pivo system. So that means, you could have a cell phone, that little pod thing that your horse is kissing in the
Yes.
picture behind you, that little
Yep.
round thing, that's the Pivo, and it's attached to a tripod.
Yep.
Um, and most of us have a battery pack behind it. You've got to have some. I mean, if you just want to use your Pivo and record some and then upload that to YouTube, someone can look at that with you, and it's not live, but they can help you. But if you want a live lesson, then you got to have some Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
so or cell phone, connection.
Yeah, I
So
use
most
my cell phone service when I'm up at my arena.
okay, you do.
Yes.
That works pretty good.
Yeah.
So most people have some cell phone going on, or they have a Wi-Fi booster going out to the arena or to the outside ring or whatever. And that's pretty much happening for most people. Either way, I think that's pretty much everything. One thing that I did was that I felt like I use my iPhone for everything. There's too much stuff on it, doesn't have a lot of capacity anymore. And I bought a used Android phone that was a remake. You know, it had been turned in and tuned up, I guess, and it was
Hmm.
partially used in super condition. And I use that just for my Pivo work. That's all. Just that phone just does that. It
Mhm.
attaches to the Pivo, and I leave my Pivo on my tripod, ready to go. Phone's right there, plugged in. And when I want to go out and ride, I just grab my stuff and go. And that has a my Pivo has a little remote. I use
Mhm.
the remote while I'm riding around, punch the button.
Yes. Yeah. If I'm just recording with it, I love that remote. I will say with the virtual lessons, yeah, I have my Pivo, my tripod. I did get an external battery pack because I realized that it is going to suck your phone battery way down really quick, and that helps a lot to have that external battery pack. Um, and then also my Bluetooth earbuds so that I can hear you. I think we touched base a bit. So if I don't want to get the equipment, but I still want to learn more and invest in my education, you're saying that I can just record a video, send it to you, and then we can have a discussion about it?
Yes, and a lot of people have to start like that because
Mhm.
they don't have equipment or they don't have Wi-Fi. Even sometimes people have like they have a test that they maybe took and they might even have submitted it somewhere. And they even send me like what the judges' comments were, and they send me the link. And we talk about it. Maybe we talk about the comments that the judge made, and we work on, did you understand what that meant, and how does that relate to what you're seeing? So that helps. So there's a lot of things you can do, even if you don't think you have a lot of capabilities. So you can, you know, for someone to teach you like that, you need about 10 or 12 minutes of tape. Don't send a clinician an hour's worth, it's just going around. They can pretty much tell what's happening in a test, which is 6 or 8 minutes or 10
Yeah.
minutes tops. I tell people, hey, just send me about 10, 12 minutes of your writing lesson, basically, your jog, your lope, and your walk, and anything that you're working on for movements. And then I ask them to have a notebook. They take notes. I send them materials also, like I might send them some pictures. A lot of times I preview the link that they send me to their YouTube,
Mhm.
and I'll see, well, oh dear, she has a chair seat maybe. So I'll send a preview of a educational tape that shows how to do exercises to get out of chair seat.
Mhm.
And it maybe explains it and what to do and how to get out of it and correct it. And so I send them materials back sometimes before I've even talked to them. They get homework.
That's
Have a look
right.
at this. We need to work on your alignment. Here's a picture of a rider in alignment. Here's a picture of a rider out of alignment. So you have things to talk about. You send them homework
Mhm.
and can assign them homework. And you can also tell them, write down in your journal every time that you ride and keep track of questions that you want to ask me. We make recommendations of books to read.
Mhm.
So the process, even if you're not live with them, you can help someone remotely a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I think my first experience with like virtual coaching was that way, like sending a video in. I have a local trainer very close to me, I'm lucky to have around here, um, who, when I got my second Mustang, the personality was completely different. He was doing something like a behavior, and I was like, I'm not really sure what to do about this. And I was able to do some virtual coaching that way. She was amazing with that. I sent her a little clip, and then she got back to me after watching it of like what I could do, and it was super helpful. And then we were on our way to continue gentling him, and he's been great. All right. There is also the app. So if we are using the Pivo, we are going to need the Pivo Plus app. Is that correct?
Yes, and there are two apps for Pivo, Pivo Play, which is the original one, and it's sort of the old one. It's most of us that just want to record tests, if as long as that one's supported, we use that one. It's absolutely the best for tracking for and for taking tests, for recording for
Mhm.
showing. We
Got
really
it.
like Pivo Play. I know it won't be supported forever because it was their original software. Pivo Meet is a little bit more sophisticated. That's the live one going on, and people are using that too to
Mhm.
record tests. We just aren't as fond of it. Maybe it's because we hate changing. People hate change.
Yeah.
So, but it works. They're both there. And there are tons. Pivo is really good about if you send them a message and say, you get on one of their um, talk sites and say, Facebook sites and say, hey, I had this problem or that problem. They'll come back. They're not on our times. I think it's Asia somewhere or wherever. So it might take a day, but they'll answer your question if you're having trouble with something.
Mhm.
And I will say this, my students, I have a very, very good friend who lives nearby, and she's been my Pivo guru since the beginning. Like when Pivo first came out, she was all over it, and she's been all over it. She's in all the Facebook groups. She pays attention to their software. She deals with them all the time. And as a favor to me, when anybody that starts, they call up and they say they want to take a virtual lesson with me, or they text me, or that whatever, messenger me. I tell them, if you have any trouble at all, I have a student who will do nothing but help you with that.
Mhm.
She's willing to donate her time to you, and she'll help them get organized with their Pivo. So she is a resource for students of mine anytime.
No,
And
that's
she's
awesome.
very, yeah, she's very, very kind.
Yeah.
So we have resources of people that will help you with
Oh,
Pivo.
yeah,
If you're
absolutely.
learning.
I agree. Pivo itself is super helpful. I know that I go to the Pivo equestrian community group on Facebook. And oh, if you want any kind of hack about taking online coaching using your Pivo, you post it there and they got you. They have every hack under the sun, but Pivo themselves will also comment to help you with the software, the
Yeah.
equipment. It's really amazing. Yeah, there's a lot of support in that way. So, what common issues might arise in my virtual lesson that you'd be able to help me with? Like sending the link, if I can't connect, if we can't connect, are we going to reschedule the lesson? Those kind of things.
Well, what usually happens is people, let's start at the beginning. People will text me, email me, send a messenger, they figure out where you are and they contact you through all the various ways of contacting you. And we make an appointment that we're going to meet for a Pivo lesson.
Mhm.
Now, I schedule an hour for a lesson. So that means the lessons are back to back, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever. But, most people in a writing lesson generally now in modern times is about 45 minutes. If you go to a live writing lesson, they're scheduled every 45 minutes. But I schedule an hour because the first few times that you start this, you're going to have technology problems. And you need to be patient with yourself. And the writing instructor has got to be patient with this because it's just that's part of this. So
Mhm.
you got to be patient. So usually people send a link. You have to be ready. For me, I ask them to send the link. You can send a link through Messenger and you can send it through email and you can send it, various ways. But for me, because I want to watch on the PC and I want to have it on big screen, I ask them that whoever your instructor is, they're going to tell you what medium they want you to send the link. And then, so I open it through my email, which means it's on my PC and I got the really big screen. I want to see that. I want the really big screen. I don't want it on my phone. So then if you don't open, if they send the link and you're more than 4 or 5 minutes late, what we have discovered, if I'm not sitting right here and I missed that they sent
Mhm.
the link only lasts a few minutes for some reason or other. Everybody experiences this. And it's just like, send another link, hang up everything and
Got
send
it.
another link.
And that's the
And
thing too, if you are in and you send the link, you can't get out of the Pivo Meet because if you do, you have to resend it again, right?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. but just resend the link. And sometimes we're texting back and forth. Hey, missed it, send another link.
Yeah.
Sorry, whatever. Like my horse is running in the dooryard and I stepped out. My horses are right there. It's great, my office, and I can see my horses like, just a second, I gotta go rescue the mare. She's being crazy. I gotta shut her in the little paddock. And so I run out and I run back in, and then, oh no, I missed it. It's 2 or 3 minutes late. And okay, send another link.
Got
If
it.
the internet's being crazy or something fails somewhere or somebody's phone isn't charged up or whatever, you can have system failure for various reasons. You have no idea why. When that happens, I'm one of these people that I'm very generous with my time. If I don't have somebody behind you, I'll just keep trying, and sometimes we start late and we finish late.
Mm.
That's fine with me. Some instructors can't do that. They're too backed up, and some days I'm too booked up. It depends, but most people are pretty generous with their time, which is great. Then, obviously, for me at least, and every instructor, you can kind of talk to them about this. I mean, they have their policies. Um, my students are great. No one ever canceled last minute. They don't do that. So
Mhm.
I don't have a cancellation policy about I'm going to charge you, blah, blah, if I was sitting here and you don't show up. Well, they don't do it to me. So I don't have
Yeah.
that policy. But people have policies. They'll have policies. It's just like everything else, like a dentist,
Yeah.
whatever. They'll tell you. What happens for me is, let's say between you and I, that we just can't get the phone to work or the internet won't work today. I just say to you, Dana, well, okay, when do you have free next? When's your next day off? Can I schedule you something else? Usually we reschedule.
Okay.
If we can't get our act together, we reschedule.
Okay. I mean,
And
that's great because I think part of it too is like people worry like, well, if I can't figure this all out, it gets me worried, but it sounds good. Like, okay,
uh,
we can
you
work it
know,
out.
I will say this, the very first time that somebody tries to have a lesson and they haven't practiced with their Pivo, like one of the things you might want to do, and a lot of people do, is they'll say that they practiced a Pivo lesson maybe where they left their husband at home and they were transferring back to him, like he's not teaching them, but you know what I mean? Like they
Yes.
practice the Pivo meet and riding their horse with somebody else before they get to their riding lesson because they want to
Yes.
make sure they know what they're doing and if it's going to
Absolutely.
work.
I practice with my mom. I'm like, "Mom, I
Yeah,
need to learn how to use this equipment. Could you help me? Like,
yes,
just get on this link and can you see me? Am I too close? Am I too far away?" Like,
yes. Yes. Okay. So if you have a chance to do that, you want to do that with your friends and get your horse friends to help you, or mom or dad, or whoever's there, whoever you can get to help you. And then when you get to me, I mean, I'm very patient with the first go around. People are nervous, they're pretty tough, stressed, they're like not sure how it's going to go. And so I'm like, well, whatever, just hang out. If I know for sure it's somebody's very first time, sometimes I schedule an extra 15, 20 minutes extra till we can get the link organized and whatever. And it usually happens. Like there has been very little trouble with this, actually. You would be amazed. People now are onto it anyway, and it's so simple now that it works really well. So Pivo's more reliable than anything. The Zoom equipment can be done, but it requires some additional equipment, and it requires, a husband or a friend or whatever to turn the camera. I have two people that do this. One is preparing a horse for Grand Prix. And I mean, I'm teaching the woman remotely, and she's going to kick butt. It's an awesome horse and it's going great. And we do piaffe, we do passage, we do one time, we do everything. And I'm remote. Like
Mm.
I've seen this person once live at a clinic and hugged the
Yeah.
horse once. I'm like, I want to hug him. And I got to hug him once, but so you can, at a very high level, you can be doing some really cool work.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. The only thing, the FaceTime thing, I have one person on FaceTime. She just can't work it out with anything else. She has somebody hold up the phone. For me, that's a little complicated because I'm only looking on my phone and I have a huge phone. Everybody knows I have a phone so big I can't put it in my pocket, but still, you're on a small screen.
Yeah.
But is she making progress? Yes. Is
Yeah.
it happening? Yes, it's happening. And it's not the best for me. That's why I'm always wanting, if they can get a Pivo, I think it works better. We didn't talk about the fact that I can, in the Pivo, I can direct the lesson if
I
I
was
need.
just gonna bring that up because the big comment is, I know when you're recording yourself and stuff like that, if you have a horse in the side pasture or something, it might lock onto them. But that's what I wanted you to talk about too, is that you can actually take control. So you don't have to interrupt the lesson if the Pivo decides, ooh, that horse looks pretty.
I had one person that was in Louisiana that had a wonderful German Shepherd that would run around the edge of her arena, and the thing would catch that dog every time.
Oh, that's
Like,
funny.
the dog would run around and be like, "There's the dog. Oh, it's the dog again." So yeah, there's a button on the bottom of my screen, one of those little, and it says camera control. And I push that. I think on your end you have to allow that. I'm not sure, but
Yeah,
there
I
might
think
be
that we do
setting.
have the option to turn it
setting.
on or off.
Yeah, but anyway, on my end, I can punch that button, and then I use the up and down button and the left and right button. The one thing to know about that is it's more about the instructors than it is about the students, but Um, that relies very much on your internet. So what does happen is you do have some internet lag, even if it's a thousandth of a second or whatever. So I frequently just set the camera, look, I set it so that I have control, but I set it right in the middle of the ring, looking right straight ahead. And the part that I can't see is I can't see the corners M and H very well. And I just tell
Okay.
people, like, I really can't see you over there. Don't do anything. Just stay on the bit and get through the corner.
Yeah.
And then if we're doing something important, children have pass line changes. I want you up in the other end of the ring and, maybe coming towards me or going away from me, but, past R and past S, and I can see you. And
Mhm.
I can zoom in and I can pull back the zoom, but I have to anticipate that a little bit because depending on how fast the Wi-Fi is working, that can I have to anticipate a little bit so that it's not going like this when I'm trying to look at you.
Mhm.
So it does work really well, but what you have to do is maybe the instructor practice the skill of teaching with this.
Got it. So the zoom in and zoom out. And so do you tell your students like, hey, don't go past this point or don't come this close to the camera so that you can best see them?
Well, yes, and like for example, we can see right behind you your Pivo.
Mhm.
So, and this also works for when I go out and set up my Pivo to tape my test for online showing. Is I put down some rails that are about 11 feet out from that camera because I have a tall wooden fence. So my camera has to be at sea just inside of the fence, which means that I have to cut off the inside of my arena about 11 feet up so that the camera zooms up on me but can see her feet and can see all of her when she passes. Because if I pass too close to that camera, A, it loses all of me,
Mhm.
which the judge has to see, but B, I may pass so close that I confuse the camera and it doesn't stay with me for its automatic tracking when I'm
Mhm.
doing a test for showing. So it's good at, I mean, they won't take more than one lesson before I'm either telling them or they already figured this out because they're using their Pivo anyway.
Mhm.
And so I tell them, can you lay some rails across there? And that'll give you a straight short side. Because
Mhm.
I want to see that you can use your corners and I want to see you do a correct straight short side. So 2 or 3 holes across about 10, 11 feet from that Pivo, and we're
Okay.
all and then what you do is readjust your letters off that end. Move the letters so they're proportionally correct from that end of the ring.
Got it.
So, and that's another thing from the person teaching, because you should set your Pivo at C.
Mhm.
That's it. Make the trainers look at you from C and teach from C. Don't do this weird going around thing. They can't tell what your shoulder end looks like. They can't see what your half pass looks like. It's got to be from C. And then the pivot straight on to the ring, and that your short side is correctly straight to that. Then
Mhm.
put your letters off that, and you're pretty much ready, ready to go.
That sounds good. So last thing is like, I know that you have a bunch of different hacks that you've told me about. Now I know here in Georgia, it can get hot in the summers. So I know like having some kind of like umbrella stand by your arena to keep your Pivo and phone shaded. I have seen people like, if you're using that battery pack, stick a little plug-in fan and have the fan blowing on it under the umbrella. Tell me some other hacks that you know.
Yeah, the umbrella is great, either a big one, but I actually had one person just buy one tiny, tiny little umbrella that she put up over up over the camera.
Cute.
You have to be careful, the Pivo can't get the Pivo and the phone too hot. Um, for a lot of us in the north, it's that they get a little too cold. We actually take foot heaters that you would put in ski boots, and we put an elastic around the Pivo and attach it to that or the phone, or we keep them in our pockets and with the heater until we need it. Of course, your battery will go down fast if it's cool, so we keep them warm and keep the heaters on them.
Mhm,
Same thing, you have battery problems or the phone will die if it's too hot, so keeping it cool is a big deal. So the shade is a thing.
mhm,
Some of us have electrical outlets near the riding arena. Mine are near the fence, so where my Pivo stands, and so I can actually plug in um, the Pivo. I can plug in the phone if I needed to. So you can do things like that, as you say, battery packs. Wi-Fi extenders can be, from your house to your riding arena. That runs a couple of $100, but for some people, if you look at it like $200 is only one day at a live clinic, and it doesn't even include the gas to get
mhm,
there. And besides that, it's not only that you could have your lessons, but you can tape yourself and begin to
mhm.
look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you can use it to go horse showing, virtual horse showing,
Mhm,
and we use ours here. I mean, I don't just do Western dressage and dressage with it. Like my friend Mary, her horse is a trick horse. She takes thousands of those. We do international agility, and we're competing online internationally, doing little courses and stuff, and we're using it for that. Like we use it for everything. I'm out there going, I don't have mirrors. So I'm checking my flying changes because I want to be sure that they're straight, that they're even. I have a tendency to sometimes list myself, my own equitation. So I'm checking, am I sitting up? So we're using it all the time. Once you get onto this, be sure it's charged up in your phone. It takes a lot of phone battery. So your
mhm.
phone has to be at 100 when you start. That's a big deal.
Absolutely. Yes, mine
And
does too. If I'm not using external battery pack, my phone is probably gonna last me 45 minutes when I'm in Pivo Meet, like taking a lesson. So,
okay,
and I know Pivo has a battery pack now that they've made that fits right on their system. You can check that out. And then the last thing is the tripod, because I know like if you're not putting it at a wide stance or like I know Pivo has that attachment now. I think it puts water bottles on to make it heavier. That can tip over. So you recommend like a very sturdy tripod or weighting it down.
yes, when we bought our Pivo, we didn't actually buy their tripod because we had a camera tripod already, and it was one of those wonderful old-fashioned heavy-duty thick ones, really thick. And Amazon has them. They're like 39.95. They're really inexpensive,
Mhm.
but really wide stance, big legs, can go way up, way down, and it has a little hook in the middle of it that we hang a lady's purse off it to keep it weighted down.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you gotta have something because of wind.
Yeah.
Because wind is a thing. So, and how many days is it not windy? It's windy. It's windy in Florida, it's windy in Vermont, it's windy in Michigan, like
Yeah.
everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's a problem.
Yeah.
Um,
All right.
yeah.
Well, I know that so I've taken a couple virtual lessons with you and I thought that they were amazing. So one, you have eagle eyes. You catch the smallest detail, which I didn't know if you'd be able to do or not. And you're like, what are you doing with your hands? And I'm like, how do you even see that? And you're like, come on, we can come over here. We need to fix that. And it was really easy, like the link didn't work one time. You just texted me, hey, you need to send me another link. Boom, sent it. We got connected. It was wonderful. And really, like, my take on it was like, I could hear you really well. I really felt like it was almost like you were in the ring with me.
Good,
So,
good.
that's how I felt about it. So that was awesome. And I know we're going to do another discussion here on virtual coaching and lessons. And we're going to talk to some of your students and see, what their journey has been like that have been taking lessons with you a little bit longer. So yeah, I hope this helps everyone because I know, changing in the technology and stuff like that can be kind of scary sometimes and the unknown. So hopefully we answered some of the questions that people had.
We'll help everyone, anyone, anytime. I mean, horse people will help other horse people. So if you
Yep.
want to get started on this, just reach out to anybody that you've been talking to that's doing this. They will help you. And
Yes.
if not, they'll put you on to somebody else who will, because it's not complicated. I know all of us gals are used to being in the barn doing horse things, and we may not be techies, but if I can do this, if I can, anybody can figure this out. Just, it's fine. You
It's
can
been
do
good.
this.
Yeah, so if you can't find a trainer in your specific area, reach out and see if they will try virtual lessons, right? So that you can get the help that you need and progress with your education. But this was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's so much fun as always, Dana. Thanks a lot and take care.
Thanks for watching. If you like the information we provided today, don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. Also check out IdaNorrisDressage.com and Ida Norris Western Dressage on Facebook.